For the Kingdom Report, I'm Wade Heath with today's edition of the Disney News Update. So you never miss a thing, make sure you are subscribed to the channel with that notification bell turned on. And here's what's happening. According to CNBC, Disney sent an internal memo to employees Friday, assuring them it will help pay for pregnancy-related care if they have to travel to a different state in lieu of the Supreme Court's decision to overturn Roe v. Wade and undo 50 years of federally protected abortion rights. Paul Richardson, Chief Human Resources Officer, and Pascal Thomas, Vice President of Enterprise Benefits and Well-Being, signed the memo, which CNBC has obtained. It says, quote, "Our company remains committed to removing barriers and providing comprehensive access to quality and affordable care for all of our employees, cast members, and their families, including family planning and reproductive care, no matter where they live." In fact, they added, "We have processes in place so that an employee who may be unable to access care in one location has affordable coverage for receiving similar levels of care in another location. This travel benefit covers medical situations related to cancer treatments, transplants, rare disease treatment, and family planning, including pregnancy-related decisions." Close quote. Disney CEO Bob Chapek faced internal backlash for failing to immediately condemn Florida's controversial parental rights in education legislation that led to an about-face in which Disney publicly avowed to help repeal the law after Florida Governor Ron DeSantis, a Republican, signed it in late March. The bungled attempt at communication led to Disney head of communications, Jeff Merrill, leaving the company after just 3 months. Disney hasn't made a separate public statement on the Supreme Court's decision at this time. Once again, our thanks to CNBC for that story. In reaction to this, a Florida Disney employee ripped the company's campaign to cover abortion travel costs for workers, telling the New York Post on Saturday it'll be bad for business and would alienate customers. Jose Castillo, who works in resort management in Orlando, accused the Walt Disney Company of trying to influence politics after wading into the fraud abortion issue in the wake of the Supreme Court overturning Roe v. Wade. Disney was among the big American names to speak out after the landmark abortion case was struck down on Friday, vowing in an internal memo that we just mentioned that they would reimburse employees who have to travel out of state to have the procedure carried out. Castillo said Disney knew full well that this memo would be leaked and make national news. They sent it anyway because Disney wants to make a political statement and attempt once more to influence our country's political process. Adding, this is yet another attempt by Disney to take a political stance that will inevitably alienate potential customers. As we have seen in recent months, Disney's political activism has hurt the company financially, and it's my belief that the board of directors is violating its fiduciary responsibility to shareholders by continuing to comment on divisive public matters. Close quote. Disney joined the likes of Facebook parent Meta, American Express, Bank of America, Goldman Sachs, Apple, Starbucks, and Lyft in taking similar action after Friday's ruling. While some of the wokest companies in the U.S. took a stance, a number of others opted to remain silent. McDonald's, PepsiCo, Coca-Cola, General Motors, Tyson, and Marriott chose not to comment. And Arkansas-based Walmart, the nation's largest employer with a number of stores in states that will immediately trigger abortion bans, also stayed quiet. Maurice Schweitzer, a University of Pennsylvania's Wharton School of Business professor, said the handful of companies taking a stand on the court's ruling are doing so because customers and employees are expecting them to speak out, saying, quote, "We're in this moment in time where we're expecting corporate leaders to also be leaders in the political sphere. A lot of employees expect to work in companies that not only pay them well, but whose values are aligned with theirs." But the vast majority of big-name executives will likely avoid the thorny topic altogether, which also poses its own risks, he added, saying they can either support travel for out-of-state care and risk lawsuits and the ire of local politicians, or they can not include this coverage and risk the ire of employees. Once again, our thanks to the New York Post for that story. We turn our attention to the box office now, where the Gettysburg Times reports that Lightyear did not go to infinity or beyond In its first weekend in theaters, Pixar's first major theatrical release since March 2020 blasted off with 51 million in its debut weekend in North America, according to studio estimates last Sunday, and now has slid to fifth in its second week. Not only did it open lower than expected, but it also failed to conquer Jurassic World Dominion, which held on to the first place spot with 58.7 million in its second weekend. It is a mixed bag for Disney and Pixar, as Lightyear, an origin story about the movie that inspired the Space Ranger action figure in the Toy Story movies, is one of the biggest launches for an animated family film over the pandemic. Including international showings, which grossed 34.6 million, Lightyear's global opening weekend totals to 85.6 million. But expectations were higher for a release this high profile and based on a beloved, well-known character. Going into the weekend, some analysts had pegged Lightyear for a 70 million North American debut, saying, quote, "The expectations are always incredibly high for any Pixar movie, particularly one that has a direct connection to the Toy Story brand," said Paul Degabadaro, the senior media analyst for the box office tracker ComScore. Toy Story launched Pixar in 1995, and its four films have made over $3 billion. Toy Story 3 and Toy Story 4 also both broke the $1 billion mark. The family audience has proved a little more reluctant than other segments to return to movie theaters. Many studios, including Disney and Pixar, have opted for streaming or hybrid releases for their animated titles. Since the beginning of the pandemic, the company has sent its Pixar titles, Soul, Luca, and Turning Red, directly to Disney Plus, free for subscribers. Disney's other big animated titles, Raya and the Last Dragon and Encanto, got hybrid releases. Quote, "There may have been a little confusion about whether it's just in theaters," Degabadaro says. "This is a movie that is going to have to be marketed in real time as family audiences connect the dots," close quote. With a reported production budget of $200 million, which doesn't account for the millions spent on marketing and promotion, Lightyear has a long journey ahead of it to get to profitability. But it could also have a slow, steady burn over the summer. And it's the only big family offering playing in theaters until Minions: The Rise of Gru opens July the 1st. Once again, our thanks to the Gettysburg Times for that story. And finally, Bounding into Comics reports that following the latest child predator sting conducted by authorities in Polk County, Florida, yet another Walt Disney World employee has been arrested on felony charges relating to the attempted sexual abuse of a minor. On June 17th, the Polk County Sheriff's Office announced that as part of their recent Operation Child Protector 2 investigation, focusing on online solicitation of minors, their team had arrested a total of 12 suspects. Quote, 4 suspects showed up to an undercover location in Polk County at separate times to meet who they thought were children to sexually batter them, explained the Sheriff's Office in their official statement. Detectives obtained warrants for 8 other suspects who were arrested and booked into jails in their respective counties. Additional suspects were charged via warrant after transmitting pornographic images and or grooming and soliciting the children online. They are still at large in Florida, and detectives are actively looking for them, close quote. In all, detectives arrested 12 suspects who face a total of 49 felony charges. Notably, among those arrested was 30-year-old Zachary Hudson of Reunion, Florida, who at least until the sting was employed as a bus driver at the Walt Disney World Resort. As per the Polk County Sheriff's Office press release, from June 4th to the 5th, Hudson engaged in an online conversation with an undercover detective posing as a 15-year-old girl. The detective asked Hudson if he was okay with her being 15, and he replied that he was, as long as my being older doesn't bother you. And later, told her that age is just a number, close quote. The conversation moved to text messaging, during which he described the things he wanted to do to her sexually, and told her that he would be honored to take her virginity. He told the girl and the detectives upon his arrest that he's employed by Walt Disney World as a bus driver. He sent her a nude picture of himself. Detectives obtained a warrant for his arrest, and he was taken into custody in Orlando and booked into the Orange County Jail. Following his arrest, Hudson was charged with 2 Class 3 felony offenses, 1 count use of two-way communication device to commit a felony, and 1 count transmission of material harmful to a minor. Polk County Sheriff Grady Judd himself provided further details on both the sting and Hudson's arrest during a June 17th press conference held in announcement of the operation's results, saying, quote, "So we did a 2-week operation, just the recent example of what we've done over and over and over to focus on those that are online seeking your children. If it weren't for the heroic work of the undercover detectives from the sheriff's office, the Winter Haven Police Department, and the Auburndale Police Department, your children could have been the victims. But they weren't, because we stood in the gap between good and evil." Proceeding to take the press through the operation's arrest list, suspect by suspect, Judd eventually presented the audience with Hudson's mugshot, taken at a point in time when he was actually wearing his full Walt Disney World work uniform, complete with name tag, and declared, quote, "Listen, ladies and gentlemen, what would an operation be? Either a pornography investigation or a predator operation or a human trafficking operation without a Disney employee. We always have a Disney employee, sometimes more," he asserted. "This is Zachary Hudson. That's right, he's a bus driver for Disney. He did not travel, but he sent nude and lewd pictures of himself. He thought it was to a 15-year-old girl," close quote. Recalling Hudson's actions, Judd continued by saying, "And he said to her while grooming her, quote, 'What we said could get us all in trouble.' And he said, now he would like to wrap his arms around and feel her small, tiny body. Then he said, 'Are you ready for this? You can't make this stuff up. I don't want to sound creepy,' close quote." The sheriff declared, "Well, you just sounded creepy." He added, "So he reiterated to what he thought was this little girl that she needed to keep it quiet. It has to be our secret because he said, I could go to jail. He said, but I'd risk it for spending some time with you. I'd risk going to jail." Well, when we arrested him, he confessed, said Judd before quickly noting, "Oh, newsflash, this'll make Disney extra happy. He was doing this while he was on the clock for Disney. So if your bus driver was running late at Disney, he was taking pictures of himself and talking trash to what he thought was a little girl," Judd concluded regarding Hudson's specific arrest. Once again, our thanks to Bounding Into Comics for that story. And now you are up to date. For more Disney Parks news anytime it drops, make sure you are subscribed to the channel with the notification bell firmly rung so you never miss a thing. For the Kingdom Report, I'm Wade Heath. See you next time for another installment of the Disney News Update.